Hey, Intuitive Soul Tribe. Mel, Intuitive Soul Coach here, excited to dive into the collective energy and take a look around this intense full moon and lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. So welcome back to my channel if you are returning, and welcome if you are new. These are general readings. Please take what resonates and leave the rest behind. If you're interested in a personal reading, signing up for the monthly newsletter, or entering into the free reading giveaway, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video. All right, welcome. Today is Saturday, October 28th, is the full moon and lunar eclipse. So we'll dive into the energy, what this means for you. We'll take a look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and how it's going to affect you from here on out. So weeks and possibly months into the future. So this moon is very powerful. You may be riding that emotional roller coaster at this time. Some of you, this is about release, because full moons are about release, completions, and endings. But this full moon is a lunar eclipse as well, and it is part of a series of eclipses that took place back in November of 2021. So if you are able to look back at that time, do some reflection. You don't have to, struggle thinking right at this moment, but it definitely is something you could do today at some point, is look back on how far you've come from that point. A lot has been going on for all of us on a global level, within our families, our careers, our personal lives. So when we can look back and see how far we've come, this is the final eclipse that began at that time. So this is a really powerful eclipse that is all about endings, but it's also one of the most transformational ones that I've seen in quite some time. So as I was sitting in meditation this morning, connecting and saying, okay, what are we talking about for our intuitive soul tribe, and what do we need to know at this time? There were so many messages that came flooding in. I actually had to stop and take note, and I actually got so emotional. So hopefully I'm able to hold it together, this reading for you, but the highs and lows have been intense. And if you are intuitive and sensitive to the energies, which I'm assuming most of you are, and even if you're not, you're probably feeling the impact of this full moon. Now, this can also bring up power struggles. It can bring up a little bit of tension, because your first cards out here, you do have conflict and family that came out together. So we'll talk about that here in a moment. Now, the words that really were enhanced during my meditation around this time, there was 3 words or 3 phrases that came through: inner truth, and truth on such a larger scale as well. So it could be truth within yourself about situations that are going on within. It could be within your relationships. The other word was authenticity. So you being able to be who you are, say what you mean, be heard, be seen, be valued. It is about you putting your authentic vision out there within your career. Yeah, because when you do that, look at what you have here, milestones. So some of you, this is about you reclaiming your power and being authentically you, instead of maybe wearing a mask at times, or feeling like the relationships that you are in are being disguised or masked in whatever way. And we may even see in the coming weeks a lot of exposures, a lot of masks coming off, a lot of people stepping forward in their truth and in their identity. And then the final phrase was good karma. So again, if you look back into the November 2021 energy and how far you've come, what you've overcome here, the power struggles, the tension, the ups and downs, the highs and lows, whatever you've put out there, this is a really beautiful time to know that you're going to receive that karma. And karma gets such a bad rap. A lot of people look at karma as bad, but it's really not. It is a choice that we put out into the universe, and the consequence based on that choice that we have made. And sometimes we're stuck in the energy of someone else's choice that they've made as well. But that's where how we respond is going to make all the difference in the world. So again, truth, authenticity, and good karma. So do pay attention, because some of the good, the bad, the ugly. So the ugly could be Power struggles. We can see power struggles between coworkers, friends, family members, children, spouses. And this can be something that, shows up impulsively or unexpectedly. Even the most laid back, chill person can get riled up at this time because, again, there's a lot happening, and something very small could be, in a way, the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say, or it could just be something that really bubbles up within someone. And what we can do when that happens is not judge ourselves, but take accountability. So if you lash out at someone, at a family member, instead of stewing about it, instead of holding it in, can you talk to that person once you've calmed down, of course, and let them know what had triggered you? Take accountability, take responsibility, because that's what this energy is about as well. Authenticity. How can we be in our own integrity and honor our truth? Now, if someone else does this to you, can you see it from a higher perspective, understanding that yes, everyone is human, but it's also important not to throw something under the rug. If someone treats you that way, can we call them out on their action in a loving, compassionate way? Say, hey, I know you're going through some things at this time, but the way that you talk to me is not okay. Please try to, take accountability or work on some of those things, or know that I'm here offering a safe space for you. So the way in which we go about it is going to be very, very powerful at this time. If apologies need to come into play, then don't be afraid of saying I'm sorry. If you need to speak your truth unapologetically, then speak your truth. Okay, because this is about us peeling back another layer, or the final layer of something that may have been difficult. It may have been hiding below the surface. Okay, a lot happening. Yep, and the World card is the upright one here that I see, and this is about completions. It's about closure. Yeah, and you have soul tribe showing up in the middle of your reading as well. So this is about family. You have family, friends, connections, people showing up twice here. So you just may feel at this time like you want to hibernate. You want to escape a little bit. Maybe you want to go inward. Maybe you feel like humans are just being a little bit unkind. We're going to take a look at different steps, different rituals or practices that you can do at this time where you can fully embrace the energy of this moon as well. Now, while I was sitting in meditation, the throat chakra was really highlighted, and that is about speaking our truth, but it's also about our own authenticity, being creative. It is about sharing our voice, sharing our story. So do pay attention to that throat chakra, because that could be something that is activated, and it could show up in many different ways, whether it is clearing the throat, it could be a cough. Some of you may have maybe even a little bit of swelling. The lymph nodes, the thyroid, things of that nature could show up. It could affect the tongue. It could affect the speech. I'm also getting ears, eyes, a lot of crown chakra energy showing up here, as well as even the heart. So just pay attention. Pay attention to these things, of course. Seek medical professional guidance if need be. One other thing that happened, and it was really quite interesting in the synchronicity, and we got to love those synchronicities, and there's going to be so many of them. Now that we have navigated out of Libra season, and whew, that was intense. With Libra being in the South Node at this time, there was a lot activated during Libra season, and we're now entering we have entered into Scorpio season, which brings in that watery element. So yes, emotions can be intense. Energies can be peaked. We can feel, again, like we're riding that high and low roller coaster. And one thing that came through, which was so interesting, is I heard a train in the background. And I don't hear trains where I'm at too often, but every once in a while I'll hear a train. And while I was deep in that meditation, boom, the train came up. Or maybe it was just, maybe it wasn't outside. It could have, of course, been the message from spirit, but it blended beautifully with what came next. And there was a song that started playing, and it wasn't just one lyric, it was the entire song. And the song was Drops of Jupiter. And who's the singer? Who's the artist? Train. And that song kept playing from the very beginning, Drops of Jupiter in her hair, and it kept going on and on and on. And so I was guided to look into that song, look into the lyrics and see what it meant, because there was something deeper within that. Now, of course, some of you could hear that song playing on the radio today or in the coming weeks. I haven't heard it for some time, so I don't know if they play it on the radio or if it's something on a playlist that you hear. But the message was, it's very beautiful song. Take a look at the lyrics. It's so ironic as well, as it has Jupiter and it has the stars and it has just a bunch of beautiful energy in it. But actually the author wrote that song because his mother was dying of cancer, his late mother dying of cancer, and he woke up from a dream state and had those lyrics in his head. So again, for some of you, maybe that is symbolic for some reason. Maybe there was someone, possibly a mother, who had crossed over from cancer, that is bringing you a message of love, bringing you a message that, you know, she's here, she's supporting, even though you can't quite see her, you can feel her and touch her. And for those of you that have lost loved ones, this veil is super thin at this time, and we can connect to our higher selves, loved ones, even if you don't practice mediumship or anything like that. Your abilities are really heightened at this time, and you could even be dreaming about your loved ones as well. And then also a lot of the lyrics in that song, such as the shooting star, there's a shooting star verse, and it's asking and saying, did you do this, did you do that? So this is a really good time to take a look at the things that you do want to accomplish. Even though full moons are about closure and release, this is actually setting you up for, the next chapter of your life, maybe the next decade for some of you. And I love this. The card that came out here is play. So what are the things that bring you joy, the things that bring you pleasure? Have you always wanted to visit that certain place, or write that book, or, open that business? Whatever it is here, this is a perfect time to release distractions or doubt, limiting beliefs, anything that hinders you from achieving those goals. So again, that was a beautiful message coming in, and I loved how the pieces fit together on that as well. So again, intuitive insights, very strong at this time. The good, right? The good is this transformational energy is very, very strong. And so there's going to be a lot of things that we do now that we are able to stick with and be transformed forever with. So for example, let's say you've wanted to quit smoking or quit drinking, cut out a certain food, maybe get to a healthy routine. Maybe you've been trying over and over something since 2021 or even prior. This is the time where something really sticks here. You can follow through, take it all the way, take it home, and really dive into what it is that you want for yourself. And this is on a more positive note, more healthy note as well. So I love that energy coming in. What else do we have here before we dive into the cards? Let's see, some of the things that you can do at this time to help you embrace the energies, because yes, they can get quite intense. And so many people say, well, Melissa, what's the soul work, as I like to call it? Instead of homework, I like to say soul work. So this would be a really powerful time to meditate, pray, light a candle, just connect instead of being distracted by the outside noise, because there's a lot of it at this time. And we can also say a prayer, light a candle for the world. And this was another beautiful message that came in. And this is what really made me quite emotional as I was in this meditation, was the song Amazing Grace started to play. And I could hear, it was like an angelic choir of the most beautiful version of Amazing Grace that I've ever heard. And of course, if you've heard that song, which I'm sure many of you have, it just moves you. It moves you on a level that is indescribable on a human surface. And so that energy was a connecting to the divine. It was a connection to spirit, a connection to our loved ones who've crossed, our ancestors. And so this would be a really wonderful time to light that candle, play that song, and just send out the energy of unconditional love. And if you get emotional, get emotional. If you feel the need to, write, journal, this is the perfect time to. I've seen a lot of people at this time picking up a pen and writing poetry, even if they've never wrote a poem in their life. Poetry is something that's really moving through a lot of people at this time. Lyrics and words that are just flowing from the crown onto paper or onto maybe a keyboard here. We can listen to music versus things that are stimulating our mind. So again, maybe it's more about listening to different things at this time for us to connect instead of listening to a podcast or a YouTube video. Hence you are here, and I'm so grateful for. But if you can take a moment, whether it is, an hour, which would be wonderful. If you can at least take an hour out today, or within the next, 24, 48 hours, just to listen to some music and sit in a space where you're not distracted by anything mentally stimulating or the outside world. Put electronics in another room. Maybe even go for a walk and listen to the birds, the trees. That was another thing that came in as I was sitting, getting ready to kind of go into a little meditation. The wind outside, I had some windows open and the patio door open, and the wind was just whipping around, and it was the energy of the air and the weather has been intense lately as well, where it feels super hot one moment, then very chilly the next. The wind is blowing, it's foggy, you can't see in front of you, the rain is pouring down. I don't know where you're located, but has been intense where I'm at this time. So put electronics away if you can for a bit, go for a walk, limit your caffeine intake as well, and go inward for a while, not outward. So let's dive into your cards here. The first cards out you have are conflict. You have family. So yes, there can be a little bit of tug of war at this time, but you are able to overcome these obstacles. And so many times people have asked, well, Melissa, what is the difference between that, 5D energy when we ascend? Does that mean that there's not going to be any conflict? Does that mean that, we're going to be living in a blissful state of peace and everything's going to be heaven on earth and happily ever after? Well, not necessarily. 5D energy is about us being able to connect on such a deeper spiritual level where we don't have to embrace in the energy of conflict. We don't have to fight that tug of war within us and within others. We're able to see that there are higher energetic solutions versus some of the lower vibrational frequencies and solutions that we have struggled with for quite some time. So a lot of you have ascended your energy, and you may be able to discern what is worth fighting for and what you're able to just kind of let go of. And that's a really beautiful thing about ascension and soul growth. So it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, but how you respond to it is going to make all the difference in the world. Like we said, this is about obstacles, triggers, adversity, but also please do remember that you are having a human experience. And even if some of these triggers get the best of you, even if there is competition, or even if you have a bad day, because you will. Don't be so quick to judge or be harsh. You may be saying, well, I'm such a kind person. I'm a spiritual person. I shouldn't have acted out. I shouldn't have done this. Don't let all of those feelings and those emotions get the best of you. Forgive, right? Do the Ho'oponopono prayer. I think I said too many anos there. Do that prayer. I forgive you. I love you. I'm sorry. Whatever that is, you may want to look that up. But practice that more. And again, just be aware of your mishaps. And if you take a step back, acknowledge, be accountable, and move forward instead of hanging on, because that's going to keep you stuck in that energy, and you don't want to be stuck. And that is how you can overcome some of this conflict within family dynamics, right? A lot of us are healing this ancestral wounding and trauma that has been showing up for so many generations. But we talk a lot about the ancestral healing on a traumatic end, but what about the good? What about all of the wonderful things that your family line has brought in? So often we focus on the negative or the bad, and I'm getting this strong pull towards taking a look at your family dynamics. Even if you had the worst childhood or the relationship with your parents was very complicated, when you have ascended beyond the experience itself, or you're able to see from that higher perspective, you're able to see that each of you played a role in each other's lives. And there's no pointing fingers, there's no judgment, and you can actually see the parts of the family dynamic that are good. And that's what Spirit wants you to focus on at this time as well. How we can move forward, because I feel like a lot of us are out of that phase of breaking the cycle. Now it's how we move forward in a new cycle with more, more positivity, more guidance, that optimistic point of view. What can we leave behind, that legacy that can help those around us, including our children, our family, our friends, our clients, our coworkers? This is about stability, setting a firm new foundation based on the one that you've already grown from. So it's not going back from scratch. It's just another level, another tier, which is transformational within itself. This is about fertility for some of you. If you've been trying to get pregnant for quite some time, especially since 2021, there could be birth, because this energy is death and rebirth. It wouldn't surprise me. I haven't peeked yet what's in the tarot, but it wouldn't surprise me if the death energy was in here, maybe even the Empress, because this is a time of endings and rebirth, like that phoenix rising from the ashes. So the conflict is about overcoming adversity, but also understanding that everyone has their personal perspective and viewpoint based on the experiences that have played out in their lives. That's part of their soul purpose. And when we're able to see it from that higher perspective as the truth, right? There is the truth. There is our truth, and then there is the truth. And that is something that is coming up here. So some of you, you're going to be triggered by other people's views. Some people could be nasty. Some people could be very kind. You may see people flip switches. You may see sides of them that are good, sides that are bad, but we all have, those sides, and it's up to us to make these choices to kind of focus on which side we want to feed, right? What side do we want to feed into here? Because there is a polarity, but when we raise our vibrations here, it makes it so much easier to not dip into that lower frequency. But again, we are having a human experience. Be kind with yourself, be gentle, and know that it's part of the process here. With family here as well, some of you are closing out cycles with family. So even though we're healing some generational trauma and we're moving on to the next step, some of you are not taking family with you. Some of you are, right? Some of you are closing the chapter on a relationship because you're being authentic to yourself, your integrity, your beliefs, your dreams. So whatever is playing out in your family dynamic, trust it, because it could get a little bit bumpy in the coming weeks. It could be something that, you have to go through. And I just talked about this. It may have been in the Aquarius or Pisces reading, or maybe all of them. Sometimes the only way around is through. And I don't feel like there is an around situation that we can do any longer. There's no shortcuts here, is what I'm hearing. There's no shortcuts. So we have to face something head on and go right through it. And that can be challenging. It can be uncomfortable because we don't want to deal with challenge. We don't like it. We try to run from it. We try to hide from it. We try to avoid it at all costs. But there is something here that we must face because that's how we grow. All right. Next up, we have Soul Tribe. This is all about friendships. Again, family, connections. It is about like minds and a sense of belonging. This is a shared journey. So shared journey is being highlighted, and that's why I want you to tune into that energy of amazing grace, because what that does is it connects us to all of us, remembering that we all come from that same divine source. But when we are birthed into this earthly plane, ego is then attached to us to separate us, to have our own individual human experience. And we forget that we're part of this shared journey. So if you want to connect, if you've been feeling lonely, if you've been feeling isolated, I want you to connect with the beauty of that song. Play it any version that you want, and just light a candle. Open your heart chakra fully, let your emotions come through, and you're going to feel that sense of connection on a deep level. And I want you to think of family and think of that unconditional love and think of that mothering energy just wrapping you up and holding you tight, holding you close. And also, this is a really good time to connect with those that you love, those that support you. It could be about connecting with other communities, other groups, getting together with your friends, having maybe even a sleepover if you enjoy those type of things, or getting together with, people that you haven't seen for a while, and just expansion of the mind, but knowing that you're not alone and that you can connect. And for those of you that don't have a ton of friends and family, connect to your spiritual family, because they're always there. You're never alone. And this is a time of reconnecting. Okay, reconnecting. If you have been struggling with friends and family, or attracting a soulmate, attracting a new friendship, or just struggling with family in general, especially since 2021 here, you've ended this cycle, and you're going to head towards attracting the right type of people who love you, support you, want to see you thrive and grow, and you both help each other out on your soul's journey. This could be one person, this could be more than one person, but I do see here not just in the coming weeks, but this is setting you up for this next stage, the next even 10 years, the next decade or two, where you're going to attract your soul tribe of people, family, and that bond, different bonds here on earth that really help you out, especially in times of need. But they're going to be there through the good, the bad, and the ugly. You also have animal kingdom next to soul tribe. So remember, our soul tribe is our animals as well. Some of you are cat people. Some of you are dog people. Some of you just love animals, right? Lately, it's been birds. Birds for me, and I'm an air sign. So this is a very powerful time to take a look at the animals in nature. I mean, of course, I have a tortoise at home here named Lucy, and I have fish as well. I used to have cats, but I absolutely love animals, and I'm in nature a lot, and I'm always seeing them, whether it's a raccoon or whether it's birds or whether it's a butterfly, a dragonfly, or even a deer or a bear. I mean, there's so many different animals out there. So pay attention if you are dreaming of animals, because these can be our spirit animals as well. They can be our totems here to guide us, help us. Some of you, this is your animals who've crossed over as well. Some of you have had some difficulties with pets or animals in the last couple of years. This is about you opening up to that animal loving energy that you are, right? Or you are in. Some of you, if you don't want an animal at your home, or you don't have any, again, pay attention to the dreams or the creatures that you see outside, because it can be such a beautiful transformational shift. There was an animal that I seen a few months back, and it was a big, beautiful crane. And if you know anything about cranes, like most birds, they mate for life, or at least until one crosses over, and then it'll join a flock. Possibly it'll be a pair of three for a bit until there's another mate that has lost a mate, and they'll come together. Anyway, this crane, I was out in the middle of the boonies paddle boarding, and I come across this absolutely gorgeous crane that I always see, but they're flying. And this crane was dead in the water, and right in front of me, out of the blue, just this big, majestical creature. And my first response was that of sorrow, right? That of sorrow. And of course, I did a little bit of a prayer and ceremony over this crane, but then I really brought in that energy, and I said, okay, what does this mean? Now that I'm getting through the human emotion, the human part of it, of loss and death, what does this mean? And this was a sign for the collective of rebirth. Death and rebirth can be such a beautiful thing, even though there's such attachments, and we grieve loss here in the human form or the physical. These things can bring about great change, great transformation. So pay attention, whether the animals that you see are, living, whether they've crossed over. Check in with your own intuition and say, what does this mean? Is this for me? Is this for the people around me? Is this for the collective? And then, of course, do some research into it if it's not coming up right away for you, because the animal kingdom is activated. I've seen more animals externally in the last 6 months than I feel like I have the last 6 years. And maybe you've been feeling that way as well, because some of you have some animals yourself here. I just heard the name Boots. Boots. Someone could also have a cream, like I'm getting peaches and cream. So maybe you have a peaches and cream colored cat, or perhaps that's someone's nickname, or a cat or a dog, peaches and cream. Okay, and I just heard Charlie as well. So again, unconditional love and companionship showing up here. And that's what we want to embrace more of. Your animals may be acting a little bit sensitive at this time as well. Maybe they're sensitive to noises. Perhaps they're sensitive. They could be staring off at the sky or staring off at something that you can't see. Trust that they're not going crazy, right? Because animals have that, that sensitivity that they can see and feel in other realms. If we're not used to being able to tune into that, they can. Trust also. I see that someone may have had a dog and a baby, or there could be a child really attached to a pet here, or maybe some of you, your own children have been asking for a pet. Maybe it's a bunny. They're showing me hopping here as well. Maybe it's a hamster, a cat, a dog, but I am seeing here a pet connected to a child. All right, and lastly here, you do have milestones. This is the final outcome energy of the themes going on here. So even though we have a little bit of conflict and family, there's going to be resolutions here, especially if you can keep your vibrations in that neutral energy the best that you can, but also be able to surrender, take accountability, and just see it from the higher perspective. There's going to be accomplishments in many areas of your life. This is a powerful full moon where it again is the final of that eclipse series on that Taurus and Scorpio axis here. So it's about taking it home, taking it all the way, whatever your goals, your accomplishments, whatever it is that you have done and, been blessed with. That's going to amplify here for you, and whatever you've been putting out, you're going to see it come back tenfold. There could be promotions coming in here, some sort of ceremony, celebration, achievement, victory. Some of you could even be getting a reward. I'm just hearing here, yes, I got it. I got the job. So some of you, if you have an interview coming up here, you could see that you got the job if you've been looking for quite some time. Some of you, I also sense that, okay, this is beautiful. There's either a new car or someone is getting a car fixed, and it feels like a big accomplishment here because maybe you've been saving for a new car. Maybe it's not new. It could be used, but new to you, right? So there's some sort of accomplishment showing up here, many of them for some of you. But regardless, you're hitting a lot of milestones because you've been doing the inner work. Beautiful. All right, the messages that we have here from the Work Your Light Oracle. We have Akasha. And it says here, your guidance is divinely guided. So you are being divinely guided at this time. Whatever ideas that you have, whatever your inspiration is pulling you towards or through at this time, know that you're protected and you're being divinely directed and guided through it, even if it's challenging, right? Even if it's difficult. So know that you're not alone here. And some of you even are connecting and have access to your Akashic records. We all do. So you could be meditating to connect with your Akashic records. And what that does is it gives you that, insight into past, present, and future, which in reality is all in one. It's us humans who put that concept of past and of future when everything is actually happening simultaneously. That's for a whole nother topic. It may be a little hard for some of you to wrap your head around that because we're so used to that linear timeline of, endings and beginnings and, this starting at this time and that ending at that time, but everything is actually happening here simultaneously. So when you are able to tap into the Akashic records, you're able to see, things that you are working on. You're able to see your chart and your life and things play out, destiny, but it's also important to understand that we have free will, to decide and to have choice, right? That is one of the gifts that we have here in order to help us grow and evolve. All right, you're already doing it. Stop overthinking. Keep facing your true north. Yes, the true north is about that authenticity. It's about your truth, right? And that was one of the words that was highlighted during my visions and during my meditation, was that truth. So some of you are overthinking, and that's why we said it's important to focus on things that can help us connect to ourselves instead of that mind stimulating energy of maybe watching things or trying to get answers or watching, a million different YouTubers or trying to find or seek the answers out there. It's important to connect in here because you're already doing it. You're already going through it. No, I'm not saying don't watch any YouTube or don't seek the answers for your, don't go asking for help. But if you have your own oracle, if you have, a friend of yours or by yourself, if you can sit in meditation and do some of your own work, pull your own cards here, sit and meditate on that. What does that mean for me? You're going to get the most answers that way. So again, you're already doing it, beautiful souls. Keep on going. You're going to take one foot and one step in front of the other, and you're going to get to this spot of accomplishment and achievement, whatever that may look like or feel like to you. Next, we have break the chain. Woo, we have ancestral patterns, healing, and rewriting the future. Did we not say that with a family card? So again, you have broke the chain. For a lot of you, you've already done something. You've done this work in this lifetime. You've healed a lot of these ancestral patterns. There's a closing of energy here. And this is about healing so we can rewrite the future in a new way. So again, it's not going back from square one, but it is leveling up and doing it in a new way, a way that's more higher vibrational, one that's healing, one that's not focused so much on pain and suffering and addictions and, immorals and things of that nature. This aligns us with our true north, and that's where we're all headed here. And lastly, we have play, have fun, celebrate. Don't be so serious. We take life so serious. Have you ever met that person who's just serious about everything? They rarely ever crack a smile, right? It reminds me of one of my favorite shows, The Ranch. Sam Elliott plays the dad. I mean, who doesn't love some Sam Elliott? But he plays the dad, and he's so serious. And some of you even grew up with a dad like him on, Bo is his name, on The Ranch. But some of you may have grew up with a father like that. And that could be something you're breaking. You don't want to be so stern and so serious. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't set healthy boundaries and that you can't, raise children in a good, effective way. But things are being rewritten here. It's about us showing love and healing and teaching and parenting through kindness and through a deep understanding of one, instead of, that just back and forth energy or a stern, abrupt energy. All right, what else do we have here? We're going to wait until the end. And it's so interesting that this tarot card actually is over here in the outcome category as well as these. So we'll talk about the world here at the end. But what do we have showing up here? What do you need to know? We have the Five of Pentacles represented by the pangolin here. The Five of Pentacles can be that dark night of the soul. It can feel a little bit lonely. It can be a loss of home. It can be a loss of self. It can be a loss of who we are, right? A lot of soul searching, soul journeying. Where are we? What are we doing here? How do we get through this? How do we bring about more connectivity, more belonging, and more stability? Because the Five of Pentacles, it can be a difficult time. It can be the time of money or health issues, bankruptcy. It can even be that poverty conscious mindset or that lack of. And we're feeling a lot of this in the world. I ain't gonna lie, right? There's a deep sorrow and sadness that I tune into, and it makes me feel for mankind and humanity. And I get really emotional thinking about that. But that's what we are guided to lift, uplift, to heal within ourselves and to help reach our hand out so we can help others and know that we're not in this life alone. And that feels like such a struggle for so many of us at times. But when the Five of Pentacles shows up here, this is about overcoming some of those financial and material setbacks. It is about paying attention to our health and paying attention to, our connections, our soul tribe, because it's important that we have that. It actually is scientifically proven that when we have that soul tribe, that connection, that family, it is part of our longevity. So for those of you that have gone through a dark night of the soul, consider this your final ending. This is a really transformational time where everything that you've gone through, you're going to reap the benefits of all the good that you've been doing. You've been working on yourself. You've been kind and helpful and thankful. This is a cycle that's coming to an end here. So a lot of you are going to step into that Six of Pentacles energy, which is about reciprocity. It is about equal give and take, right? Maybe some of you have been on the job search for a couple of years. Maybe your health has faltered. You've gone through a lot here. Maybe you have filed bankruptcy. You've went into debt. You lost your home. You lost your children, your husband, your whatever it may have been. Deep loss can create this sense of instability within ourselves. And some of you have gone on spiritual trips. I'm getting here. Some of you have went through a major awakening here that's shaken your world up in a big way. But I do feel here that this is part of what is coming to an end. So consider yourself stepping into this brand new energy here, again, that's setting you up for the next decade or so of your life. And it's going to be a lot better than this Five of Pentacles, right? Dark night of the soul, loneliness, because again, just like the shirt says, it's a phase. It's a phase of our lives that sometimes we go through, but it's not our entirety of our lives. Next, you have the Knight of Cups, the dolphins. Play, have a little bit of fun, right? Dolphins are community creatures. I absolutely love going to the ocean and seeing these creatures play, and they give off such a vibrant energy. I've been so close. I've swam with them before and touched them and been with them, but of course, I absolutely love to see them in their natural wild habitat. And this is a connection of love, right? The Knight of Cups energy. This is about joy. Can be romance for some of you, but some of you have been tricked when it comes to the heart. And therefore, when we're tricked or we are robbed of our own heart, it feels like, or when we have poured our heart and soul into a situation and someone has tricked us into believing that they love us or into whatever it may be, it sets that illusion that love is bad, or it sets the illusion that love is unattainable. That's something you are shattering, right? Because the Knight of Cups here is all about following your heart. It is about you being able to touch into that energy of emotion and love, and loving what you do, loving the people that you're around, but more importantly, loving all of the layers of yourself, beautiful souls, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Next, you have Eight of Cups. Beautiful. Look at what this says here. Eight of Cups says true seeing. And that's one of the, again, truth, true seeing things. It's about peeling back the layers in order to see that final truth, or see something that maybe you didn't want to see. Maybe you did see it, but you weren't ready to take action. The Eight of Cups is about moving towards your Nine of Cups. When we look at it as a powerful energy or an optimistic energy, you're moving towards something more meaningful. But sometimes when we feel a little bit stuck in this energy, it can feel like abandonment. It can feel like escapism. But what I see for a lot of us is we're stepping into that next portal, that next energy, that next chapter of our lives. And we're in search of more love, more meaning, more purpose, more discovery. But the only way to do that is to step up out of something that you may have been going through here that could have, again, have been a little bit difficult. I like the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is my Eat, Pray, Love card. For those of you that have ever watched the movie or read the book, Julia Roberts goes in search of She doesn't even know what, but she knows that she wants to feel that passion and that joie de vivre for life, right? She wants to be able to eat pizza and like the taste of it. She wants to meet new people and just feel the wind on her face and, go to different spiritual places and connect with herself. But what she finds along the way is so much more. She builds friendships for a lifetime. She meets the love of her life. She experiences who she is. And she loses everything in the process, right? She loses her money, she loses her home, her husband, everything. But she chooses that. She chooses because she knows she wants something more. And for a lot of you, you may be in the process of grieving that loss because it's part of it. We must grieve our loss. Even if we are the one making a decision to leave or walk away, we must grieve that, but know that we have something beautiful out here. Not out here, but something else, right, that we can align with that's more deeper and a more meaningful experience of the heart. That's what we have here. Next, you have the Six of Cups. Look at all this Cups energy. I'm loving this here. The Six of Cups is about reunions. It's about that inner child and reminiscing. Look at the otter. The otter has fun. He's playful. If you've ever been in the presence or the energy of an otter, I see them all the time in the summer when I'm out on the paddleboard or out in the kayak. They're constantly swimming by, little river otters. And they're so fun. They're so playful. And for a lot of you, this is reminding you again to play. We see this showing up here numerous times. So play with your own children because you're going to wake up and say, whoa, where did the time go? And some of you already have done that. So play. The dishes can wait unless you really like to have those dishes clean like I do before bed. But if there is something or someone else that is calling you to have a heart-to-heart connection or moment, go with that because, again, those dishes can wait. That vacuum, it's still going to be there. You can still vacuum the floor later. If you want to connect and call someone, but maybe there's something else that you have to attend, try to, of course, find a balance, but reminisce, play, have fun, connect. I'm getting here that some of you are struggling with your siblings. Some of you may have not talked to a sibling because of some sort of power struggle, power play, and you may want to reach out because this is your best friend, or it is someone that you really love, you count on, you rely on. Some of us, again, stepping into our truth and saying, is this the ego that is holding me back from what my heart truly wants? And I have to chuckle here. Hopefully you guys can find the chuckle in this because I wasn't sure if this was going to come out, but it's here, so I gotta mention it. So I don't know if this is my own fantastic humor on display here or if this is coming in from my guides, but what I heard during meditation, and this is funny here, at least it is for me. Don't let your ego block yourself. Don't let your ego, block you, basically. So if some of you have an ego that is saying, that mind playing out that this person hurt you, don't talk to them. Don't let that ego block you from what your heart truly wants. So again, I wasn't sure if I was going to say that here, but don't let the ego block you. Basically, that's it. Okay, so Manta Ray, we have the Temperance card. Our temperance, our patience is going to be tested at this time, but this is about harmony. It's about divine energy and miracles. And when the Temperance card shows up here, some behaviors can be quite extreme, right? Tempers can get flared here, but you have the self-control. You have, the blending energies because you've ascended. You know what to do with this. But again, if something happens within you where you have a little bit of a temper tantrum or a meltdown or someone else does, try to bring patience to the mix here instead of judgment, which is your next card. This is all about rising up. This is about clarity, awakening, and mercy. So when the whale shows up here, right, a whale makes a splash. It is huge, the hugest creature here in the sea. So when it comes down, of course it's going to make a splash. So when the Judgment card shows up, this is a reckoning. This is changing your life for the better. It is your purpose, your calling. It is a second chance. It is a rebirth here. It is a moment here of truth where you can step now into this new energy if you choose, right? You can take this approach where, wow, I'm completing these cycles. I can forgive my past or forgive situations and heal the wounds because you've already been doing the healing work. You're going to release judgments here and move into this new time frame, this new paradigm shift here. And what's going to come out of it? The Page of Wands and the Three of Pentacles. Page of Wands is enthusiastic. He's a free spirit. He comes up with new ideas, authentic ideas. So I love the raccoon showing up for you. I think did we mention that earlier? But the raccoon is also masks off, right? Even though they have that masks, they are authentic. They're curious little buggers. They can get into trouble if they want, but don't be afraid to be a rebel with a cause, as I like to say. So don't be afraid to stir things up or jump into the mix here. And I'm not talking today, but down the road, if it's something that matters to you, if it aligns with your beliefs and your morals, don't be afraid to be that rebel, beautiful ones, with a cause. And lastly, Three of Pentacles, collaboration, following your dreams and research, showing up as the mouse. That also reminds me of Soul Tribe, because the Three of Pentacles is about teamwork. It's about cooperation and collaboration. It's saying that we can play our roles here on earth together. We can collaborate. There doesn't need to be so much chaos, so much competition, so much judgment, so much criticism and neglecting of our own roles and duties because we're so focused on what someone else is doing. This is again about that free spirit energy with the Page of Wands, opening us up to collaborate and work with others in the highest form possible. That's so beautiful. Whew, I'm loving this. Are you guys loving this? Because we want this. We truly do want this, but sometimes we feel the heaviness in the world and we say, is it helping? Right? Is it changing? Are we shifting? We second guess sometimes in the grand scheme of things, but yes, we are embracing the energy of judgment and we are working on our roles and our healing, but now it's time to really step into this new portal. We're going to see a lot of shakeups. We're going to see a lot of ups and downs. We're going to see the good, the bad, the ugly, but ultimately remember the why. Okay, the why is for us to collaborate, work together, and allow our free spirit here, our enthusiasm for life and our ideas and our authenticity to shine and collaborate and work together here on earth. And lastly, you have the World. Beautiful. Travel for a lot of you, traveling overseas, reaching people on a global level. This is beautiful beginnings. Wow, even though we're talking about this full moon lunar eclipse, again, we're also touching base on what we're seeing here from here on out, and we're seeing the ending, bringing in a new beginning. This is also about sacred contracts. It's about infinite possibilities with the macaw here. So the World showing up as your final outcome is beautiful because this does talk about happy endings, accomplishments, victory, cycles ending and coming to a completion. This is about a sense of, wholeness, a sense of fulfillment. Anything that you've been lacking or anything you felt stuck in, anything you felt was holding you back or stuck, this is the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus that is going to tie up that loose end and allow you to have this beautiful beginning. Because here, the next card behind it is the crossing. Beautiful. This is initiation, right? It's us initiating into that new paradigm shift, into the new beautiful beginning where, yes, it is open to us with these infinite possibilities. So remember that you are part of the infinite. You are part of that divine spark that we all are part of. So when we can reconnect to that energy, you know that it's possible. You know that the word itself, impossible, spells I'm possible. So remember that you are possible. Those dreams that you have for yourself, you can cross the threshold now. Next you have, we're going to wait for the last one for that. We have Fallen Angel, Spiritual Narcolepsy. It's also card 19. A lot of us at this time, we have felt lost, right? We felt like we weren't connected to the divine, or we're thinking again, as we just mentioned, what the heck is happening with the world? We look around the world and we say, are people coming to the light, right? Are we raising our vibration? Are we raising our frequency? Because we have adaptability behind it. And we also, this is the card that really is illuminated here. And it says gathering around the power of community. That's what's happening here. When we have that spiritual narcolepsy, we as light workers, and a lot of you are, it doesn't mean that you have to have a spiritually based business. Maybe you do, But this is about you healing what's going on in here, because when you heal, the world here heals. But this is about you embracing the change that being the change that you wish to see in the world, right? It is about you being able to grab that hand, hold it out there, and help other people rise up as well. And some of you are saying, well, Melissa, I need that helping hand. And yes, it's available here. It's coming in. It's right here. It's closer than we think. Its existence is right within us. And this is about adapting to the changes. And there's going to be a lot of those changes. But instead of succumbing to the fear, reach out, help. Right? Help each other. Let's all help each other at this time, because the power of community will change the world. Whoop. Told you I was going to try to keep it together in this reading. But there we have it with the world. That is what I have for you, beautiful souls. I hope it resonates. Lots of love.